Hey, my name is Luke Fisher, managing partner at Brainlabs. I work out of the New York office down here in Florida this weekend. So, what do I do at Brainlabs? Well, every day is slightly different. I have a book of clients with a number of different teams across those and cross industry as well. So, my time is spent understanding those businesses, making sure I'm up to date on what they're doing, not just in marketing, but across all of their business units, and also understanding what's happening in the industry. What are consumers doing in those industries? How are their competitors acting? And what can we do with what we manage for them to actually make sure they're zigging when their competitors zag, or that they're ahead of the curve consistently? And sometimes this may mean running different types of media, but sometimes it's also making sure that we actually understand the media that we're doing now and what tests we can continue to build into our plan. Because at the end of the day, it may not be trying something new, but it's trying something different that we haven't done before. Look, I think a recent challenge that I've solved, I think we're challenged every day in different ways, whether that's our clients face particular challenges or our teams internally do. Or as a business, we face challenges that we have to try and solve to make sure we're delivering for our clients. I don't necessarily think this is a real challenge in terms of something that we had to break through, but it's always a pleasure to see the team as a whole work through wider challenges. And what I mean by that is the internal team. So to watch them get better at what they do. And that is a process that takes time, and you have to reflect upon that. I think you have a particular team right now where the industry is difficult for various reasons with what's going on in the economy and the wider world, and the team is really pulled through to deliver for our client. But at the same time, they've gotten better at how they do that. And so every time I see this team presenting to the client or building out something, you can see that it's just taking another step and another step. And so that's fantastic to watch and to be a part of. And the only way that I've been able to be a part of that challenge was to give feedback where possible. But really, it was them who were able to develop the work product and the deliverable for the client to make sure that we're actually delivering performance above and beyond what we have before or what their previous teams have before, and that's beside what's going on in the wider industry. I don't know if I'm trying to think of a trend that excites me in media or advertising at the moment, and I don't know if it's necessarily a trend, but it's something that I think we see happen often within media in particular, but I think within the tech space and also firm or business management. And that's a myopia that tends to happen, or short-sightedness. Short-sightedness causes us to react really quickly, hastily, urgently to things that we haven't seen coming. And I think we're actually experiencing this now in sort of this AI world or AI revolution. And we did this through Web 3.0, which is the crypto times. We've done this during, all those crypto trends that we saw, where people reacted really quickly and I think made mistakes along the way. But not only did they make mistakes in their business, but they misallocated resources, whether that's business resources, time, assets, money. They burned a lot of capital. One thing that I think people need to be thoughtful of is to not get caught up into that flow. Yes, AI will solve your business problems or some business problems. It may make you more efficient, but you have to be really careful that you're not being myopic. You're not doing things now that may not generate value for your business, your clients, your teams in the long term. So as Brainlabs, and my goal for my team is to ensure that we maintain a long-term view of what our clients should be doing, what's going to be happening in the industry, both their industry and in media. And in doing so, we need to be the safe shores that our clients can rely on, even if they're getting pushed by public markets, by their board, by their leadership, to implement AI or some tools in certain ways that may have some short-term impact, or it may look flashy, or it may deliver, some nice thing that someone enjoys. But at the end of the day, is it really delivering long-term value? The answer is probably no. And so my encouragement out there for business leaders, marketing leaders, is to think about spending your time doing those things that will make a difference a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, and not focusing on a buzzword from a consulting agency or someone who's really just trying to sell you a product that maybe isn't going to deliver real value to you. What is a skill or hobby that makes me better at my job? First, my only hobby and skill is Brainlabs. That's why I have the hat. I think actually a skill or hobby, a hobby maybe, or an intellectual curiosity, which does tie back to work at the end of the day, which I think is really helpful for us to have skills or hobbies that make a difference in our professional lives, is I really love markets. I love geopolitics. I love financial markets, sort of global markets and trade. I just find it really interesting to read about consistently. There's something right now that I'm trying to tell my clients just to put into how they think about their business. Michigan's Consumer Confidence Index is at around 60% right now. It's a month lag, but it's about 60, not percent, but on the index. As we went into COVID, you could say it was at 100 on that index. And at the end of COVID, when we were going through a global pandemic and people thought the world was kind of shutting down, the lowest it got to is about 70. So whatever's happening now in the economy, of when people are asked the question, do you think your life is better or your family's life better than it was 1 year ago? We're 10 points below where we were at the lowest moment of COVID. So there's something going on. People don't feel good about whatever's happening in the world. And personally, I feel you can learn a lot about what that might be or what they might be seeing by reading about financial markets, about geopolitics, about trade. These things deeply impact how people are affected in their daily lives. Debt does run the world, and that's something that I think we all should be cognizant of, and we should read deep into the history of these sorts of things. So if the answer is I enjoy reading about that sort of stuff and spending my time talking about it or thinking about it, and things adjacent to that. Or I like spending time with my wife. Okay, something I'm generally excited about coming up. Winter's coming up. It's my second winter in New York. I've loved the winter so far. I didn't grow up around the snow, the big city, so I'm super excited actually for the winter to come back in, get my big coats on that I had to buy, my gloves. I'm going to buy a pair of gum boots. I'm super excited about that. Part of that is I think I've got to play one last season of rugby, and I'm saying it on camera now to hold myself to that. I've got to play one last season of rugby before I call it quits, and so that's what I'm going to do. Even if I play one game or I just go to trainings, I got to do it. Got to get out there and do something. So I'm super pumped for that. So I actually started out in my marketing career 7 years ago at Brainlabs. So I've been at Brainlabs for my entire marketing white collar career. Before that, I was a college student. I worked driving tractors, stocking shelves, working in a glass factory. And then in Austin, I met our current UK CEO, Dan B. We got a lot of Dans in this business. And I met him playing rugby. And he told me he was setting up shop in the US for Brainlabs. And I said, great, I've run out of money. I was living in the US. I just moved over here from New Zealand. And I've just run out of money because I didn't have a job. And so I was like, great, I need a job. I'm going to come work. Love to come work for you. And Dan said, sure, I need people, And so joined Brainlabs. And the reason I'm going down this rabbit hole is I don't know what advice I would have given to myself who just started out, because I didn't know what I was going to be doing. I didn't know I'd be doing this. And I didn't know I'd love it so much, which has been awesome. I think thinking about that really deeply, though, I would probably give my younger self the advice, and also anyone in that position. They're out of college, they're looking for a job, they're getting their first job. One, you can stay there for a while. I've been at Brainlabs for 7 years in November. You can stay there, spend the time to get good at what you do. Don't spend time looking for side gigs, putting your time into this or that. Like, just get really good at what you do. I did not make a lot of money when I started. I had friends doing totally different jobs, making 2-3 times as much as I was making. But now I've been able to put the grind in, and they might still be doing the same thing. So stick at what you're doing, focus, put the effort in, and also realize don't worry too much. It'll be okay. You're going to be able to push through, and things will be difficult. You'll make mistakes. And all you have to really focus on is, how do I lift the level of what I'm doing? And the advice I give to other people that I work with at Brainlabs is, if you have to ask the question, I don't know whose job this is, or I don't know who's responsible for this, your answer to that question should always be, that means it's you. So if you don't know who's responsible for something, well, start by doing it yourself, and along the way you might find out someone who can help you. But that's just how you have to be proactive in a growing business with growing teams. You have to take accountability for everything you do. So that's what I would tell my younger self.